welcome back to our channel. We are the Northern Sewl Sisters. I am Tamlin and we are here today finally with the long-awaited reveal of our Tilly and the Buttons Thea collaboration. We were doing this collaboration with the very wonderful Emma, Sew Doer Emma, one of our lovely friends and a fabulous inspirational sewist as well. So we were all making the Tilly and the Buttons Thea trousers, and we are here to share our versions and talk through how we found the pattern, what we like about it, maybe what we don't like about it, and to show you our Theas. Have I said that already? Anyway, I wanted to show you my Theas like this first before I go and pop them on, because I just want to share with you some of the details. So I chose to make this cropped version here. I just love this whole look. I definitely want some white denim versions, and if you remember in our plans vlog, which we will link to in the description box and you can go back and watch if you haven't seen it already, I shared 3 fabrics that I wanted to make Theas out of. There was a white denim, a blue and white striped denim, and then a purple cotton twill. So I've started off by making my cotton twill version. I will, spoiler alert, be going on to make other versions, and definitely in both of those 2 denims, but the version I'm sharing with you today is my cotton twill version. So yes, I made the cropped version here. Sorry about the sunlight, but there's a little bit of sunshine today, which is lovely. And I made the version without the welt pockets. I'm not sure if any of us actually made the welt pockets. Very time consuming, and it's just not something that I really wanted to spend my time doing, to be honest. I didn't think they would particularly enhance the look of the trouser. So I went for the cropped length. I went for just the patch pockets on the back. I intended to sew belt loops on, and I cut out the pattern piece and everything, and then as I went through the making process I decided I wasn't going to require the belt loops, so I've left those off. And yeah, I'm excited to talk you through my version. So this is a purple cotton twill, like a Cadbury's purple, that I got from Jenny's Stitches. It was a wonderful fabric to sew with. You can hopefully just see the twill weave there. It was such a great fabric to sew with, not too chunky, so it went through my sewing machine absolutely fine. It just behaved itself as a cotton tends to do. I love the colour. I really need to see if Jenny's got any more of this, and I'm sure she had it in other colours, but I'm not sure if she's got any in stock still. So I added a couple of little details that I wanted to share with you. So on the inside waistband I added this lovely little label which says finished, and it's got that checkerboard kind of flag there. This is a Hey Sew Sister label. I just thought it went beautifully. I have got my zip fly in here. Now you might notice I haven't added a button onto the front. I've done a bar, what's it called? Hook and bar. However, I sewed it on in a little bit of a rush and I've sewn it too far over. It should just be a little bit more like that so you can't actually see the hook and bar, but I was rushing and I just added that on about 5 minutes ago. So I need to just go, it'll be a really quick and easy job just to unpick that, move it along a little bit so you can't actually see that peeking out. My pocket lining, I've used a Lady McElroy cotton in this really fun print because I just thought the purples went really well. And then on the back I've added a label to one of my patch pockets as well, and that label is I made this therefore I can do anything, and that is from Cozy Club Handmade, and I just loved the purple. I thought it went really nicely. So yes, these are my Theas. So I'm going to go and pop them on and share them with you and then talk you through the fit. Just in terms of the initial making process and how I found sewing them, I loved sewing these. I found them a really satisfying sew because it's great whipping up quick and easy jersey t-shirts and things, which I love to do, but making something which feels quite professional and quite an achievement to make, like such a lovely tailored style of trouser, like fitted and with the fly zip and everything. I felt proud, is that the right thing to say? But I felt like I was achieving something and as I was making it, and I really enjoyed sewing it Tilly's instructions, as always, brilliant. The instructions to insert the zip fly, fantastic, and I'm really pleased with how that went in. The only negative really that I found when I was sewing these up, and it's something I'm going to change for next time. So the patch pockets are here, and I don't know if you can just see poking through here, you can see some bulk, because that's the seam allowance where it's been turned under, and the edges are overlocked as it instructs you to do, and then turn it under. But Tilly's seam allowances are 5/8 of an inch, so you've ended up with quite a lot of fabric inside that pocket there, and I just feel like it adds quite a lot of bulk onto the back. I can just see it in the camera there, can you see it? So I'm going to actually, for next time, trim some off my pattern piece so that I'm not turning over quite as much. I just think 5/8 is quite a lot to turn under and then have inside your pocket, because if you're using a fabric like this, which isn't particularly thick, you're kind of left with the sight of that. So I don't know if any of the others have found that and found that it ended up a little bit bulky. I'd be interested to hear, and if you've made them, let me know your thoughts. Is the best solution just to trim down the pattern piece so I'm turning under less of a seam allowance, or is there another way? Please let me know if you've got any advice. So I'll go and pop these on and we'll talk through fit. So I've got my Theas on. So I made these in a size 3 at the waist and I graded to a size 4 at the hip. Those fit my measurements, and yeah, let's have a little look at them. So So in terms of the fit on the waistband, I'm really happy with that. There is a little bit of a gap there, but that's going to be great for when I sit down. It's going to make it nice and comfortable. I'm happy with the fit on the bum. I think the fit is really nice there, and coming under here as well. I think it's got just the right amount of ease there. If we come round to the front, as I can turn round, you can see I've got these lines coming down here, and actually it's quite short going under here, so I think that I need to lengthen the front crotch a little bit, and that would just eliminate those lines. Now actually that's not going to stop me wearing these, because I love these trousers. I think they're amazing. Because of the fit of them and being quite close fitted, these pockets aren't really functional. I kind of have to scooch over, breathe in a little bit to fit my hands into my pockets, but I think they're more a design feature rather than a functional pocket anyway. I wouldn't put anything in there, even my hands or anything. But you can definitely see I've got lines here, and the crotch here at the front is actually touching my bits, which is not ideal. You want a little bit of space in there, and I definitely feel like I kind of want to pull them down a little bit, but still have them nice and high-waisted here. So I think, looking at the trouser fitting advice on the Tilly and the Buttons website, I think I need to lengthen the front crotch a little bit. Sorry, my phone was full and I got cut off, so sorry if that was a little bit disjointed. But yes, just to say, I'm really happy with this finished pair of trousers. I could have discovered this slight issue if I'd have made an actual toile first, but that is on me. I tend to choose not to make toiles, and yeah, that's my choice, my prerogative. But this isn't enough to stop me from wearing these, because I think they're just a fabulous pair of trousers. I really, really love them. And obviously as I'm bending there, it's making those lines more defined. But actually when I look down, you can't really see them. It's just, I think I'm highlighting them by showing them in the camera. But yes, really happy with my Theas. I'm really happy with the size that I made. Definitely a size 3 graded to a 4 is what works for me. I just need to make a little change to the front crotch, and Tilly has some fantastic trouser fitting advice on her website. So it goes through and shows you images of lots of different issues that you might have and talks you through how to actually make that adjustment. So I shall be making a little adjustment to my pattern piece for my next version, and hopefully that'll just eliminate that little issue there. I think as well, using a slightly different fabric might change things as well. So using a denim, a slightly thicker, heavier weight fabric, I think those lines might not be quite as obvious, or we shall see anyway. But yes, Tilly and the Buttons Thea's, massive tick from me. Definitely want to make more pairs, and I'm really happy with the overall finish. I think they look really professional. Like I said earlier, I felt great making them, loved following the instructions, loved inserting the zip fly, and when that all comes together and you finished it and you're like, I just made that, like, it's a really great moment, and yeah, it's a win from me. So I can't wait to see how everybody else got on with these trousers and see how fabulous they all look in their versions. So do let us know down below if you have made the Theas and any thoughts on the pattern. And yeah, I'll hand over to one of my other gorgeous girls right now. Bye.
Hi there, Ruan here. That was so good to see Tamlin's beautiful Thea trousers. I think she absolutely knocked them out of the park. I don't know about you, but I'm here to talk today about my experience as well. So it's my turn, because as you probably know, the three of us, and including Emma, have got very different body types, which is one of the reasons we kind of wanted to do this project with you guys, so that you could kind of see what it looked like on each different body type. Now, I'm wearing something very random on top. I'm aware of that. There is a reason for it though. I'm just wearing a ready-to-wear top that I got off Vinted, because it's a tight top so that you can see the trousers a bit easier. Now, I don't tend to wear tight clothing. I tend to wear more flowy clothes. So I don't have anything that actually goes with my trousers, okay? I got this on Vinted in the idea that I would make maybe like a nice black pinafore dress or something for autumn and wear this underneath just to give it a bit of pizzazz. But anywho, I'm wearing it now just so that you can see the trousers a bit better. And actually, now I've worn it with the trousers, I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to make some very plain, simple tops like this, you know, a nice black one, a white one, etc. So it'll go with anything. Maybe like is it the Nico top by True Bias? That sort of thing. Anyway, I've already diverted attention to other stuff. So yes, the Thea trousers. Now, I wanted to make this version here. So this is it at the back. You've already seen Tamlyn show this. I wanted to do this version here with the patch pockets. No to the welt pockets. I love welt pockets. I think they're beautiful. I'm not scared of welt pockets because I've even made them in padded coat fabric. I know. So I'm not scared of them, but I think a patch on your butt looks better. On mine it does anyway. I don't know why, but for some reason, if they're put in the right place, it makes my bum look a bit more pert. So I went with patch pockets and it was easier. So yeah, so I was planning on making this version here with the patch pockets. I chose my size, cut it all out, the pattern, cut all the fabric out, and then realised I'd actually cut the longer length out. I don't know what I was doing, but I've ended up cutting these ones out, and actually I'm kind of liking them. So that will be maybe in my plans for another time. Shall we talk measurements first, just to get that over, and then I'll give you a good look at them. So on my waist, for reference, I'm a 39-inch waist, which would pull me out in exactly, I believe, a size 8 on my waist. Let me double check. Yes, 39 inches on the waist, and I'm a 46 inches on the hips, which is in between a 7 and a 9. No, a 7 and an 8. So I decided to just do a straight 8 because I thought if there's a little bit extra on the hips, it's not the end of the world kind of thing. So that's the sizing that I've done. So what I'll do now is I'll change, maybe flip the camera. I know Tamlyn was struggling as well because we have to film a certain way for YouTube and we want it to be the other way. But I'll do that now and I'll show you what they look like so you can have a wee look. So here they are in like this blue linen fabric. This is the waistband. There's quite a bit of ease. Now it said there would be 1 inch of ease. Feels like a bit more to me, but what I do like about that is it's not giving me any muffins. Ain't got no muffin tops hanging over the top, which is quite nice because I think it gives you a nicer silhouette because it's not grabbing me in here. So that does sit really nicely. it's got these lovely like slash pockets, which look so neat when they're done. I did line these with a bit of animal print, obviously. I thought these were a bit too plain for me, so I've lined them with a bit of animal print. There's a really beautiful zipper in here that the lovely Tamlin got for me from First of Fabrics. It's a really lovely quality one. And then this button, you need to have a shank button, is actually from my husband's late grandma's button box. I thought, how lovely would that be to use something? So it's really nice. It's like a really dark navy with a gold rim round it. Now, if you can see here around the waist, it sits really nicely. What I would like though is for this bit here not to do that. So I think I'm going to take a leaf out of Tamlin's book. I'm going to pull it over a little bit, and then I'm going to put a little hook and eye here. So it's got a button and a hook and eye. It reminds me of my kids' school trousers. They've got a hook and eye and a button. So I'm going to do the same, so I think that it will then lay flatter, and I can also potentially bring in the waistline a teeny bit, nip it in. Very, very happy with the fly. You can see this is a linen. So this is a Lady McElroy cruise linen that I got from a So Hayley Jane box. So you can see it's already creasing, but that is just the nature of it. And then this is the booty shot, if you can see. So I've got the patch pockets on here. It was quite interesting actually, because I didn't notice until Tamlin said about the fact that there is a bit of bulk on the pockets if you're in a lighter fabric. So yeah, I have got a label on somewhere. Where is it? Here. A little label here. That one just says bespoke. That's little rosy cheek one. And then I've also got one in the back waistband, which is the Making Waves one. So what do you think? What do you think to my backside? That's very personal, I know. Do these have a little bit of a hungry bum? I'm not sure. I quite like the fit of them on the butt, but I kind of need you to guide me on this one. Do they look okay? I feel the need to pull them down a little bit. Like, I don't know. What do you think? If you were walking behind me, would you be like, oh, her trousers are up her bum a bit? They don't feel uncomfortable at all. They're lovely when I sit down, so I don't know. Anyway, you can let me know in the comment section down below. So yeah, so this, I should have maybe graded it a little bit here because I was between a 7 and 8, but I just went for a straight 8. And do you know what? It doesn't offend me. I obviously don't have that much difference between my waist and my hips because I'm thick set. Do you want to see the length of them? Let me go all the way down here. Can you even see me now? There, look, so you can see the length of them. I love that length. I think it's really nice. Yes, I feel quite fancy in them. Now, I don't normally wear pale, let me come back down, pale coloured trousers. And I would consider these pale, other than like maybe a pair of blue denim jeans. So, make sure you're not wobbling. Seeing myself in a lighter pair of trousers is really strange because I don't wear trousers very often at all. In fact, I never wear trousers. I only wear jeans. I used to always wear trousers and a top to work, and then I got into sewing and I started wearing dresses all the time because I love making them and I love how easy it is to just pop them on. So for me, the dilemma was when I went to try these on, what do I wear on the top? And also I'm used to seeing myself in a darker silhouette on the bottom. So it was a bit unusual for me, but the more I've worn them, the more I'm actually really liking them. And the more I'm thinking, yes, I definitely do want to make a denim pair of these. I would love to make an animal print denim pair of these. That's obviously all over the high street, obviously not with this top pot. And I would love to make like a black denim pair as well. So I'm going to start having a think about what I want to do with this pattern because I definitely will make more. I don't feel like there's any problems around the crotch area or anything like that. I feel like the ratio between the waist, where it hits me, is exactly where I want it to be. And I think I was just really pleased that actually I made these straight up out of the packet and I've not really had to do much with them. Unless you tell me I need to do something with the back side of them. But other than that, I think I'm just going to leave them as is because I really, really like them. I may potentially take them in a little bit. So I might end up grading down to like in between a 7 and 8 maybe on the waist and the hips, just to get a sleeker look, particularly if I want to make some in denim, because otherwise it's going to add bulk. So my experience with making these, I absolutely loved making these. I am trying to make more and more trousers. Tigger's decided he wants to go out because the door's shut. Shall I let him out or will he just sit there patiently? Let's see how long he sits there patient before we start scratching the door. Yeah, I'm trying to start getting into trouser making, and I need to look at how I would style them, etc. But I just loved every minute of making these. I like a pattern that not necessarily stretches me, but is a little bit more interesting. And obviously I've only ever done one fly before, and that was on the Peppermint Magazine wide leg trousers, which are very similar to these actually. But for someone who's kind of just wanting to stretch a little bit, the instructions, as always, in a Tilly and the Buttons pattern are just amazing. I am very visual, so to be able to see all of the pictures all the way down makes a big difference for me. I had no issue whatsoever. The only time I got a little bit confused was with the fly, just because I couldn't get one bit to look neat. So the instructions are really good, but there was one bit and I wasn't happy with it. And in the instructions, it says here, watch our video tutorial of sewing a zip fly at tillyandthebuttons.com/Thea. And they've got a video instruction on there for one of their denim skirts. It's exactly the same construction. And when I saw someone physically doing it, I was like, that's it. I had not tucked something in the right place. Managed to do it. Perfect. So as someone who used to be scared of zips, doing zip flies, this type of thing, I would just say go for it, because the instructions are really good. And if you want someone to hold your hand while you're doing it, then this is kind of the way to go. So yeah, I absolutely loved all of that. The pockets front and back were really easy to construct. Nothing hard about those either. And I really like the nice top stitching bit of making the pocket look really nice and neat and tidy. Things that I might change would be the waistband. I would put a thicker interfacing in. I didn't do a thick enough interfacing, and can you see when I sit down it's very floppy. So I like to use a woven interfacing, not the plastic one. But I've only got light ones, so I probably should have gone for a much heavier one, just to keep the structure in that waistband. I mean, obviously if you're working with a denim or something like that was thicker, you wouldn't need to worry. And yes, obviously I need to just, that's the only other thing I would do, is put a hooking eye in there just to make sure that that lays completely flat. The waistband went in really lovely actually. The only thing was I got confused because there's so many pieces to the waistband, which one was which at one point. Because I'd kind of taken all of the pattern pieces off and then I was putting it together and I was like, ew. So next time I might just get a bit of washi tape, scribble on which one's which and attach that, just stick it onto each piece so that I know in future what I'm doing. Right, the only other thing that I did was I extended the legs by 2 inch. So this is drafted, I believe most Tilly and the Buttons patterns are drafted for 5'6" and 5'8". So I added 2 inches onto the leg length, and then when I made them, they were ridiculous. I'm not joking. I'm 5'8", and they were trailing on the floor. So I ended up lobbing off the 2 inches that I'd added on, and they ended up being perfect. So that's quite good for me, because usually I have to look at a pattern, look at how much fabric it's going to take, and then add a little bit on if I'm buying fabric for it. Didn't have to do that because I ended up lobbing off the 2 inches that I'd added on. So I don't know who they were making these long length trousers for, but I would say if you're shorter than 5'8", you're going to have a lot of length on the bottom, so don't worry too much. It said that I needed 2.7 meters for the long length, and I used exactly 2.7 meters, and that was with even adding on 2 inches. So you've got a bit of leeway there as well. So you might be able to sneak them out at 2.5 meters potentially if you did a smaller hem. So overall, I'm delighted. It was a lovely experience to actually sew them up. I'm really happy with them. I just now need to plan what my next ones are going to be, and I think it definitely needs to be a denim. And I would really love to give the short version a go. I went into York recently with the girls, and Rachel had on some cut off like canvas fabric ones that were literally, I just couldn't stop looking at her all the time. I felt rude because I felt like I was ogling her all the time because her trousers were just incredible. So I want to do something similar inspired by Rachel because I think they would just look great. So that's my experience with the Thea trousers. I'm going to pass you over to the gorgeous Rachel now, and I hope you really enjoyed seeing what we've got up to. Take care. Bye.
Hi, Rachel here, and last but not least, I am going to talk to you about my Thea trousers. So you've already seen gorgeous Tamlin and Ruan's versions. They are incredible. I'm sure you've all loved looking at their gorgeous butts, because I certainly have, that's for sure. And I am actually really surprised that both of them have gone for a plain fabric, which is just unheard of, especially in Ruan's case, isn't it? But yeah, they just look amazing, don't they? And I think we can all agree that having seen their versions, and the fact that I think both of them are not very experienced in making trousers, not that I am either, but you know, what I'm saying is that this gives you an idea of just how straightforward this pattern is. So I'm going to be really interested to hear all about the gorgeous Emma's versions as well, and see hers. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you're finding this really useful. So let me talk to you about my experience with the Thea pattern then. So firstly, let me talk to you a little bit about sizing. As Ruan's already alluded to, the four of us are all very different shapes and sizes, which I think is fantastic when it comes to this kind of collaboration, that you can see how a pattern fits differently dependent on not just your size but your shape as well. And for me, I went with a size 3 waist and a size 6 hip, because that's what my measurements came out to at the time that I made this pattern. So I made mine back in June, so we are 3 months later, and I've had to dig out the pattern again to have a look at what changes I made, because I did make some changes, and I was a good girl and twirled this pattern because I am really curvy and I have a big ratio, big waist to hip ratio. I always have, and even though I have had some weight changes over the course of this year, that waist to hip ratio is still very apparent, even though I've lost a fair bit of weight. So at the time I made this pattern, my waist measurement was a size 28 and my hip was a 41. And the size 3 waist is a 28-inch waist. And the size 6 hip came out at 41 inches. Now, there isn't an awful lot of ease through the waist and hip on this pattern. It is designed to be fairly snug fitting and then flare out into a nice wide leg, as you've already seen. So the finished measurement for the size 3 waist was 29 inches to give you an inch of ease, and the hip was 44.5 inches. So that's actually a fair bit of ease through the hip, and then it obviously goes into the wide leg. Now I decided to make the full length version, and the reason why was because of the fabric choice that I made for my first pair. But as I say, I did twirl the pattern first, because not only have I got this big waist to hip ratio, I also have a very curvy butt, so it's a very full butt as well. And I know that when I've made trousers before, and even when I have bought trousers from ready to wear, I've always found that through the butt area, they've been really tight, and it's really difficult to get ready to wear trousers to fit me and encase my butt comfortably, shall we say. So with this pattern, I thought I'm going to twirl it and see if I do need to make any changes in that area. So I made up the straight size 3 waist to 6 hip and made no other changes in calico, because calico is a good medium to use. I mean, you don't need to buy calico. You can just use some inexpensive fabric that you've got in your stash that behaves in a similar way to the good fabric that you've chosen to make your pattern out of. But I do have some calico, so I thought it's got no stretch in it, which is great because it means any fit adjustments are going to show up, and I'm not going to have the added advantage of that little bit of stretch that you get with stretch fabrics helping me, if that makes sense. So I thought I'll just use a straight calico, make that size up and see what it looks like. So I'm going to put a picture in a second, because the first version that I made, I knew straight away I had a hungry butt. And you will see that from the photos, because yeah, my butt was just gobbling up the fabric, shall we say. So I needed to make some changes, and I looked up online just how to adjust the crotch curve to give me a little bit more room in the butt. And I ended up scooping out a 1/2 inch of the back crotch seam. Didn't do anything to the front crotch seam, but then what you need to do is you need to add that on to the side seam so that you still have the full circumference to fit your full hip. That's really important. So the 1/2 inch that I took out of the crotch seam at the back, I then added on to the side seams. And when I insert this picture now, you'll see the difference between what it was before and what it was after. And yeah, that's the only adjustment that I made. Once I'd done that, I was happy with how it fit through the waist. I was happy with the hip, and I then decided to cut into my precious fabrics. So I used this fabric. Out of the three of us, I went for a patterned fabric, and yes, I went leopard print. Now, I know this is everywhere at the moment. It really wasn't when I made these, because as I say, we were talking about sort of mid-June when I made these. But I've got this fabric from Fabric Godmother. It's not their Ace Denim, which is a new fabric that they've just launched in the last couple of weeks and sold out everywhere. But it's very similar. This is actually a sort of fairly structured, medium to heavyweight stretch cotton. I can't remember the name of it. Is it Bellatrix? It might be Bellatrix. If they've still got it on their website, I will link to it down below. But yeah, I bought myself 3 meters of this, and it was perfect for this pattern. It does have, as I say, it has a little bit of stretch to it, but not too much. But because I twirled it in a non-stretch fabric, I knew that it would be absolutely fine. So I made the full length version, as you can see here. I did the patch pockets. Now, I know Ruan and Tamlin have already mentioned about the bulk that sort of shows through on their versions because of the seam allowance that is included in the seams of the patch pockets. But fortunately for me, because I've used a heavily patterned fabric, you can't see that, although I can feel it and I can perfectly understand where they're coming from. I think one of the problems with it is in the instructions she tells you to overlock the seams, as Tamlin mentioned, but then you gather it in slightly, and I think that's creating the extra bulk. So that's maybe something you would want to think about. Again, I decided to go with the patch pockets rather than the welts because I love welts, but I just wanted to get these done, if I'm honest. And I tend to agree with Ruan that when you've got a bit of a full butt, I think a patch pocket is a bit more flattering than welts. That's just my personal opinion. You know, you do you at the end of the day. But I was quite happy to just do patch pockets. So I put patch pockets on both sides. And the lining for my pockets is boring. It's just plain black cotton lawn that I had in my stash, because there is enough going on in the actual fashion fabric without adding to it, shall we say. So I also did, like Tamlin's done, I did a trouser bar, hook and bar, that's the word, isn't it? Yeah, because I wanted the very sort of plain finish on the front. I didn't want to have to see a button there. And yeah, I'm super happy with how the zip went in. I've got my little black zip in there as well. I did put a label in the back, and this is my label, which is one by Little Rosy Cheeks, and it's one of Victoria's leopard print I Am Unique labels in there as well. And yeah, I am super happy with them. The only thing I would say, and this has only come from making these again, is that I think the extra ½ inch that I added on the side seams where I took it out from the back crotch seam, I actually didn't need to do that, because I think the amount of ease that is in the hips was probably just a little bit too much for me. So I do need to go back in with these and just take that out, because I do think they're just a little bit too curved out at the side seams, if that makes sense. I love the fact that this has a curved waistband, because for me that has quite a big sway back, that's really helpful. I think it fits me much better than a straight waistband. And yeah, the other thing that Ruan mentioned as well is about the length of the legs. I know we both chatted about this beforehand, and I added on a good couple of inches to the leg length as well, because I know that Tilly drafts for a much shorter woman than me, and I needed to take that out because yeah, these legs were really long, and I've still got a really deep hem, as you can see there, which is great. I wanted to have a deep hem because I think that really helps to hold the hems in place, if that makes sense. I stitched the hems with a blind hem on my sewing machine. I love doing a blind hem. You can just see what that looks like there. It's like a straight stitch, and then you get a little zigzag every so often, which just captures the fabric on the outside, so it gives you a really invisible finish. I love doing blind hems on everything practically, so I use that stitch a lot on my sewing machine. And yeah, I am loving these trousers. They are just amazing. I have only worn them once because I wore them on a day that ended up being really hot and I was too hot, and then yeah, I've not had the opportunity to wear them since. But I've put on a little vest top, so much like Tamlin and also Ruan has said, that, you know, wearing a sort of fairly fitted top with these trousers is the best way to sort of show you them. So I've just put on a little fitted vest now, and then I'm going to put these on and show you what they fit like. I hope you can see how the trousers are fitting. As I mentioned, they've got quite a lot of extra room at the side seams here, so I think I'm going to go back in and just shave that ½ inch that I added to the side seams off. But otherwise I'm happy with the waist. I've got, you know, eating room here, which is great. The pockets at the front, I can get my hands in fairly easily. The legs are super wide, as you can see, and excuse the gorgeous socks, which really don't go with them at all, but lengthwise I'm really happy with them. Yeah, I think they fit really nicely. Now there is a pattern piece for belt loops for this pattern, but I haven't put them on, and I don't think the girls have either. Hopefully you can see the patch pockets at the back just there, and yeah, I really love them. I just need to find a nice top to be able to wear with them. So there's our Theas. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all think. They're all very different. We all look very different in our Theas, but I think we've all had a really great experience with this pattern. One thing I would say is that Tilly's instructions for the fly insertion are absolutely fantastic. They're probably the best that I've ever read and ever attempted. And I have inserted a few flies in my time now. I've done a fair few trouser patterns, but I really loved making these and really enjoyed the finished result. So the three of us are really interested to hear what you think. We'd love you to go and have a watch of Emma's vlog as well to look at her finished Theas. Yeah, chat away to us down in the comments below. We always love to hear your thoughts, and we'll be back with you really soon. Take care. Bye.